Welcome to Day 1, Lesson 1. In this audio, I'm going to take you on a journey into your body and guide you to visualize and get to know the muscles that surround and support your growing baby and how they're perfectly designed to birth your baby. No matter what stage of pregnancy you're at, you will tune into your baby's home space, examining it from all angles and imagining what your baby sees, hears, and feels. You will learn how your muscular uterus grows and expands to accommodate a fully grown baby, effectively creating a safe and protective space. Not only that, but for the duration of your pregnancy, it knows exactly what to do to keep your baby safely inside until they are ready for life outside of your womb. It then changes function completely to open the cervix and gently nudge your baby out into the world. So make sure you're comfortable so you can enjoy this fascinating insight into your changing body and learn how your uterus supports you and your baby in pregnancy, how it is nature's safety net. Did you know that your uterus is the only organ in your body that is able to undergo such radical changes in such a short space of time? Before pregnancy, it's roughly the size and shape of a small pear. Try and create an image of that in your mind. It might be easier if you imagine it as a red pear-shaped balloon nestled within your pelvic bones, so that you can visualize the balloon expanding as your baby grows. Because that's what's so amazing about your uterus. It literally expands as your baby develops, so that by the time you have reached full term, it's grown to accommodate your baby as well as the placenta and amniotic fluid, and you'll learn about these in subsequent lessons. But today you're going to get to know your amazing uterus. And the reason it can grow so much is because it's made up of 3 tissue layers. Now don't be put off by the medical jargon I'll be using. It just makes sense to use the correct names. Metrium is the Latin word for womb. The outer layer of your uterus is the parametrium. Para meaning beyond or outside of. The inner layer is the endometrium, or lining of the uterus. Before you became pregnant, it was the endometrium, or inner layer, that shed each month of your moon cycle. However, during pregnancy, its role is to nurture the placenta, which embeds in the lining, and you'll learn all about the placenta on day 5. The middle layer, or myometrium, is the most important to the birthing process. This layer is made up of 3 more layers of smooth, involuntary muscle. As the name suggests, involuntary muscles are not under your conscious control. The muscles of your heart are involuntary muscles, and you don't control the beating of your heart or have any influence over it. It just beats all day, every day, and most of the time we are totally unaware of it. So if the muscles of your uterus are involuntary, does that mean you have no control over it? Yes, it does. And this is important for you to know because it means that you don't control the contractions of your uterus in labor. You don't have any influence over when your labor will begin or how long it will take. The muscles of your uterus are smooth, involuntary muscles. Your only job in labor is to release resistance and allow them to do the work of opening the cervix. Now this may sound a little frightening because there is a natural fear of the unknown and there is a desire to want to be able to control the process. But just as your heart keeps beating to keep you alive, so the muscles of your uterus work perfectly in harmony during pregnancy, labor, and birth. And there's a reason I mention pregnancy, labor, and birth separately, because this is another amazing thing about your uterus. The muscles of your uterus function differently at each stage. Throughout pregnancy, it works hard to keep the cervix closed so that you don't go into premature labor. It knows not to start contracting or pulling up the cervix. It knows your cervix needs to stay closed to keep your baby safely inside until they are ready to be born. And when your baby is ready to be born, usually any time from 37, 38, or even 39 weeks onwards, the muscles of the uterus change function. Your cervix is like the neck of the uterus, and instead of supporting the cervix to stay closed, you will start feeling rhythmic contractions of the muscles as they start to slowly open and dilate your cervix. During labor, your cervix will open to about 10 centimeters for your baby to pass through. It's the muscles of the uterus which will do the work of opening it. And the muscles of your uterus will change function again at the end of labor to birth your baby. Instead of pulling up and opening, they will start exerting downward pressure, guiding your baby through the birth canal. This is called the fetal ejection reflex. It's a powerful piston-like movement to help you give birth. And then, after birth, they contract down hard to expel your placenta and manage blood loss. Over the next 6 weeks after your baby is born, they continue to contract until your uterus goes back to its original size, the size of a small pear. Truly amazing. But for the moment, let's go back to what is happening right now in your pregnancy. Depending on how far you are, you may have felt these wave-like movements already. Around 20 weeks of pregnancy, you start noticing that every now and again, your belly gets really hard to the touch. By the time you reach 30 weeks, it happens more regularly, and it may even cause your bump to change shape or veer off to one side or cone up in the middle. I'm sure that you have already seen and experienced this. Very often it happens in response to your baby moving and kicking. This stimulation of the uterine muscles causes them to contract and tighten. These waves are called Braxton Hicks contractions. They're like practice waves that don't cause any change in your cervix. They're not meant to. They're just gentle warm-up waves, and I encourage you to become aware of them. Just notice them and use them as an opportunity to get comfortable with the involuntary nature of labor, how your body knows exactly what to do. Now, in a moment, I'm going to guide you through a short visualization that you can do each time you feel your bump harden in preparation for labor. Remember, there is usually no sensation or pain when this happens. It's just a wave of energy moving through the muscles. And when labor really begins, it's these same waves, but they're more noticeable because there's more energy and they have more work to do to open your cervix. But the more comfortable you become with the practice waves, the easier it will be to manage the real waves. So now, place your hands over your bump and feel the softness, the roundness. Close your eyes, drop your chin to your chest, and direct your attention inwards, connecting to the essence of your baby. Visualize how they might be lying curled up inside of you, and the feeling of being held and supported by the muscles of your uterus. Your baby moves into many different positions throughout your pregnancy. You may even have an idea of how they are lying, but I encourage you to always visualize them in the perfect head-down position for birth. Even though they will only really settle into this position around 36 weeks, and even though they instinctively know that this is the right position, it's important for them to move around and explore their space before lining up at the exit. Your baby spends most of their time upside down in a right-side-up world, and that's totally okay. Every movement you make is felt by your baby and helps to develop their vestibular system. When you're moving your body or walking or you're in a prenatal class, you're creating space, and the gentle stretching, twisting, reaching, and rocking back and forth provides your baby with a host of sensory information that is crucial for their development. So take a moment to imagine your baby in the perfect head-down position. Imagine the world they are experiencing. The sound of your beating heart. the movement of your chest with each in-breath and each exhale. The sound of your circulation as blood is pumped around your body. The muted sounds of your voice, your partner's voice, my voice. The sound of your favorite piece of music. The sound of nature on a still day. Direct your breath to your hands and imagine sending the breath to the muscles surrounding your baby. It may seem strange, but literally imagine that you're breathing into your hands and the breath is being transferred to your belly. Notice how your belly softens in response. Feel the warm energy slowly spreading through your muscles. Imagine richly oxygenated blood flowing to your baby. I'm going to stop speaking for 2 minutes so that you can really tune in and notice how your baby responds to your loving touch, your undivided attention, your conscious breath. Now, bring your awareness back to the sound of my voice. You have a clear image of your baby nestled in your womb and how the muscles of your uterus protect your baby during pregnancy. From this moment forward, you are more aware of the feel and touch of your hands on your belly. Each time it hardens, each time you feel a practice wave, you place your hands on your bump and notice how your baby responds to your loving touch, your undivided attention, your conscious breath. Because by the time you reach 37, 38, 39 weeks, you will notice that this happens daily, several times a day, and it starts feeling a little different, a little more intense. Your muscles just know that it's almost time, and rather than keeping the cervix closed, those waves start softening the cervix, preparing it to open. Those waves start nudging your baby into position, guiding them, moving them into the right place and space. But here's something you may not know, because there's a whole lot of talk about the pain of labor and how long it takes. But what's really happening has been happening all the way through pregnancy. And when you work with these waves and release any and all resistance to them, they do what they're designed to do. They open your cervix and nudge your baby down. It's involuntary. Your body goes into labor in response to rising levels of the love hormone oxytocin. And this, coupled with the increasing downward pressure from your baby's head on your cervix, causes it to open and your labor to progress so your baby can be born. The muscles of your uterus working so beautifully together in perfect harmony. And for as long as you are relaxed, they will do what they are perfectly designed to do. It's involuntary. Your only role is to release tension with every out-breath. Breathing in relaxation, your muscles respond by working together harmoniously. Your cervix opens, your baby is gently nudged down. And did you know that when you're in labor, each of those waves lasts only 90 seconds? And that between every 90-second wave, you will have a rest period of several minutes. Now, most of the time, labor takes upwards of 8 to 12 hours, which sounds like a long time, but it's a time of transition. Transitions take time. And you ride the waves like the warrior you are. You're ready for this transition to mother. You're ready for this transition from maiden to mother, or mother of one to mother of two, or mother of two to mother of 3 or 4. You feel your body changing. You feel your baby moving through you. And even as those waves get stronger and closer together, and even as the rest period becomes shorter, 5 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and then only 2 minutes, always there is a rest. By breathing slowly and mindfully, you will move into a state of deep relaxation, intensely focused on what is happening in your body. You will easily stay out of what we call the fear, tension, pain cycle. This is a negative cycle that is exactly as it sounds. When you're afraid, your body tenses up and you experience true pain. The more pain you experience, the more afraid you become. And the internal and external tension increase, causing more pain. It's a negative cycle that you can easily avoid with this simple breathing technique. By consciously practicing breathing throughout your pregnancy, each time you have a Braxton Hicks, you will easily be able to use your breath effectively during labor. Every day you will have an opportunity to practice. It's not something you need to set time aside to do. You'll learn to do it spontaneously when you feel movement or tightening of your belly. And a minute or two several times a day is better than 20 minutes of sustained practice, although that would also be great. If you're attending a prenatal class, this is the perfect opportunity for conscious breathing and connecting to your body and your baby. And so this brings us to the end of this lesson on your uterus. And in the next lesson, you will learn how your cervix is perfectly designed to stay closed during pregnancy and open during labor to birth your baby.